Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Therapy Clips with Dr. O. Today, our focus will be on cognitive distortions. I am from the organization Human Service Consultants. Now, we're going to talk about these cognitive distortions. What exactly are they? Well, the cognitive distortions are negative ways of thinking that are both illogical, that means it's unsupported by evidence, and harmful. They are harmful because they lead to further negative thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and behavior. Now, we're going to focus on the types of cognitive distortions. The first is all or nothing thinking. This is when the individual views a situation in strictly black or white terms with no shades of gray. For example, since I didn't get an A, I failed. Well, this individual would like to have an A, but received a B. And because they didn't get the A, they think that they failed the test. Well, that's not logical thinking. A B is still a good grade. The next is selective abstraction. This is when the individual focuses on one negative detail, excluding the larger picture. So this example says that getting two problems wrong means that I don't know anything. Well, the person is completely ignoring the fact that they did get 18 problems right, and so they knew quite a bit. Illogical thinking. Overgeneralization means that the individual makes a sweeping negative conclusion that goes far beyond the present situation. Example, since I did poorly on this exam, I'll do poorly on the course and every other math course. This person is jumping to conclusions based on one single small event and ignoring all the past accomplishments that don't support this view. Illogical thinking once again. Fortune telling. The individual predicts the future negatively. Usually, they catastrophize with little or no basis. So, this whole idea of negative thinking in this situation is I'll never make it as a mathematician. So the person just feels like they have no other possibilities and always focus on the worst outcome. Magnifying, minimizing. So this is when the individual make the situation to be much worse than it is, or they minimize the strengths and the assets. So the example says that getting a B is going to ruin my life. I don't have what it takes to succeed. Illogical thinking. They are completely ignoring all of the other accomplishments and attributes that they have. Labeling. The individual puts a fixed, overgeneralized label on himself or her or other people based on one or a few behaviors or performances. Example, I'm stupid. This is when the person equates one performance with stupidity. Even if an F is received on a test, that doesn't make a person necessarily stupid. And a matter of fact, even people who have developmentally intellectualized disabilities are not stupid individuals. These individuals are just slow. So basically, this whole idea of stupidity is not a good concept. And I believe that it's illogical thinking. Emotional reasoning. This is when the individual thinks something must be true because they believe in it so strongly. So since I feel like a failure, I must be one. So this is like saying, there's nothing good that's going on in my world about me. And this is how some people really get into thinking that they're a failure because they just can't see the positivity they bring to the world, and they just can't see their own gifts, talents, and things of that nature. Mind reading. The individual believes that they know what others are thinking and how they view a situation. Well, the example is the professor must think I'm stupid. There's a defense mechanism called projection, and projection means that in this situation, the professor thinks. Well, how would you know what a professor is thinking? You don't know. Those are a person's feelings that they are projecting onto someone else, because the professor is really not thinking about anything if they're in the classroom teaching but the literature that's in front or the literature that's in his or her head. So basically, oh, and I do know because I'm a professor, so we're focusing really on the literature, but moving quite along. So this whole concept about mind reading is not something that we can do. Not really. We can predict based on past experiences of dealing with that individual and knowing that individual's behaviors, but we cannot read anybody's mind. Personalization means that the individual believes that others are behaving the way that they are because of something that person did. So the professor is ignoring me in class today because I disappointed him. Once again, this is illogical thinking because it could be other reasons why the professor is not just focusing on that one individual. It could be that the professor have focused a lot of attention on that one individual and feel as though he or she needs to focus on other individuals in the classroom. So it could be other reasons for the professor not paying attention to that one particular person. So the whole idea and the concept is knowing that there could be other possibilities. Should and shouldn't. The individual has a precise, fixed notion of how you or others should behave or should have behaved. So the person chastises him or herself for not living up to the expectations when people generally act in accordance to their own nature and perceptions. Well, the example is, I should have studied much harder. Well, maybe the person did study very hard, but maybe not long enough. Or, because sometimes the studying thing takes days and people think that they can do it in one session. So maybe the person studied very hard, like they spent their entire Sunday from 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night studying. So that is studying very hard, but not studying for days. And sometimes that's required when you're trying to learn and, try to remember what's being said in the literature. So you did study very hard, and there was no way of knowing in advance that this particular test had certain problems on it, so, that's just basically the concept. That's the end of the presentation. This is your reference. I'm Dr. O, Human Service Consultants. Have a blessed day. God loves you, and so do I. And always remember to love back. So love always. Be blessed today.